Welcome to the Infinite Way, where spirituality meets humanity. I'd like to introduce Grandmother Donna Huether, and I'm so excited to have you on as a guest on our show. So, Grandmother Donna, wow, that beautiful title. Why don't you share with the audience what grandmother means?
Grandmother means someone who you can go to and be loved. Yeah. So that is traditionally what grandmother means. And I think in any language, right? So I have people who have given me that name, and I feel kind of honored because I do love them, and it's nice that they know that I do love them. It also kind of makes me responsible, for passing down traditions, making sure they have what they need, making sure that they're doing what they should as a second set of eyes. And then teaching them what it is to show respect for themselves by showing respect for their elders. So you're giving that relationship to them as being a grandmother. It's like, you have that title, you have these exposures and these jobs to your community, and it's a reciprocation as a teaching. You're teaching them to respect themselves by respecting your tradition.
Yes. So have you always been an elder of the Abernaki, or were you an elder in your in any other tribe?
No, just the Abenaki. There was a long time between when I had last seen my parent, my dad, who's Cherokee, and his family. Okay. And they're out in Oklahoma, and I grew up in Massachusetts, and then I moved to Vermont for school, and I found the Abenaki, where they found me, and I found teachers, and I found grandparents, and I found friends who said, okay, you want to live the native way? We can show you how to live the Abenaki way, since you didn't learn to live the Cherokee way. I really wanted to live that. I really wanted to walk the red road. I wanted to walk, not the walk I was on, because it was just so foreign, I wanted to walk something that was more natural to me, and that was to walk, the native way. And I'm glad that I found the Abenaki.
So, coming from someone who has Cherokee, and I ended up walking the Ojibwe way, and I'm listening to you. So how was that transition for you? I know how it was for me, which was in certain moments very tumultuous because I just didn't get it at first. How was that for you?
Well, I had been part of the Clan of the Hawk for several years, and Clan of the Hawk was a representation of a lot of Native nations, different nations, not just Abenaki. And our clan mother, TwoFeathers, Roberta Noyes, she was Cherokee as well. And I'm not sure she was other nations. Well, I just know that she embraced her Cherokee, and I know that she was Cherokee. And so it was kind of like I was learning a lot from her, So it was kind of, I was still learning Cherokee, even though I was in Abenaki country. I was with an Abenaki clan. And then what happened was Grandfather Burton, he was our spiritual leader for our clan. He asked me to be a student and he adopted me. And at the moment I became responsible to walk that spiritual student walk, I became responsible for being adopted as well, to be the honor to be part of somebody's family, the DeCarrs. I immediately knew I had to, step up the pace, but learning as much about, Abenaki legend and history and in the beginning of the Abenaki and their stories and their songs. And I mean, when I say I was dedicated, I wish I could say I learned the language, but I'm terrible at English. So Abenaki is not going to be very easy, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So, and there's a lot to learn. And, there's a lot to learn. And to be honest with you, learning the songs helped a lot. Learning the songs helped a lot. It helped because people will talk about what the songs mean. And then you kind of get that little bit of reference to language. But learning the songs brings you close in many ways: vibration, history, fun. I mean, it's fun to sing, it's fun to be around, and it brings you around the drum, which in any nation is your heart of your nation. It's your heart of your clan. It sends the vibrations through you, and it changes exactly who you are at that moment in time. You're vibrating at a different frequency, unlike the one that you are when you're sleeping. So you are totally being with one with the heart of the drum.
And
so my transition was immediate.
Go ahead.
My transition, like I said, was quick. I felt a real need to live up and to step up and honor being adopted, and being given this some serious talk control. I don't know how to explain it to teachers. Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed every step.
Yeah. Yeah. So I want to go back to the drumming because you kind of mentioned it, but I tell you, when I learned the drum from the Ojibwe, it changed everything for me. And those who don't know me well and knew me in the beginning, I mean, that's who I am. You never see me without a drum. And learning Ojibwe songs, singing with the drum, making the drum in ceremony. It's an extension. It's my medicine. It's me. There's no separation between the drum and me, and I don't see it as an instrument. I just see it as an extension of me. What are the traditions with the Abernaki around the drum? Because I know it from an Ojibwe perspective, but not necessarily from the Abernaki.
Well, I'm sure you and I won't be the only people talking about this, but there's a tradition where the drum, first of all, is revered. It brings joy. It brings the people together. It's part of ceremony. You can hear it for miles through the woods. What other, it brings friends together. It's the circle. It has the teaching of the circle of life. Being a circle is a big thing.
Yes.
And anyway, I am definitely not a drum keeper. I don't know the Abenaki drum medicine. I know plenty of people that do. And they're beautiful to let me in on some things. But as far as traditions, I do know that it's tradition to, well, when we were making the drum, it's tradition to pray, to keep the drum, sacred and safe, to care for it, to to treat it as the soul, and it's sacred. I mean, I think that's the most important thing, is that when you say to treat something sacred, what is that? Well, if something's sacred ground, you don't want people littering it, right? So if something's sacred and it's around, arguments and, bad juju, I mean, like just not in a safe place. Maybe it's just like kind of sitting in a corner. I'm kind of keeping it sacred. Keeping it sacred would be, even if you had to, very safe in a blanket underneath your bed, just to treat it sacred, meaning you're always thinking of how important it is to have that drum with you and around you. I might say our clan, in the end, I'll just give you, it's not really sad, it's kind of the way it is, but our clan chased having a drum for years. And that's how important a drum can be.
So I know that there are a lot of different clans within the nation of the Abernaki. Can you share with us a little bit about the Hawk clan?
Okay, so the clan of the Hawk was up on the, I would say, on the rivers of the Willoughby, up in Orleans County.
Okay.
And we had presence up there for a while. And Ralph, Chief Lone Cloud and Chief Spirit Water was his other chief name. I knew him by two chiefs' names. He chose Chief Spirit Water in the end. That was the last name that I knew him by, other than Ralph, or Grandfather. And he had really set up an area that was just absolutely sacred to us. And remember what I talked to you about sacred. I mean, we had people that loved that area. There are many stories to be told that, that it was previously inhabited by people who camped out along the Willoughby. And of course, why not? I mean, it was a beautiful area, and the Abenaki have been all over there forever. We had a labyrinth there, which is still there. And we have a medicine circle there that is still there. And those grounds are still there. But we had the chance to blossom there for like almost 40 years. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And we enjoyed all the clans and all people that came around to on powwow once a year. And it was a lot of fun. We had some really big ones and we had some really teeny ones. But the nice thing is, it's just like anything, And I'm really lucky that, I got to go around and meet a lot of people up in that area in the Northeast Kingdom and whatnot. And I got to meet some women from the Nelhegan tribe that were wonderful. We went on this basically a grandmother weekend that was being held by the state of Vermont. It gives out grants to various groups, and this group held this weekend, and it was the most amazing time. And it gave me and other tribes and other people chance to talk about what are the differences in your own community, and they do their thing and we do our thing, and and the similarities are there, but also the uniqueness and the differences are there as well.
Okay.
It's it's special when I get to see any Abenaki doing anything. It's just like we're still here, and I'm proud of everyone that teaches tradition and that brings tradition, into the world and keeps it going. I mean, we're all one tribe.
Yeah. So how does that feel? Because I know a lot of the younger generations aren't embracing the traditions. And so they're coming up not knowing any tradition at all, or not knowing, in your case, the Abernaki way, or not knowing the Ojibwe way. What is your role as a grandmother in helping the community in this regard?
Well, that's really important that you say that. What is my role in helping? You got to say to yourself, you have this honor, like to be, entitled to people who taught you. And that's really part of the circle. And when in tradition, when you ask for a teaching, say, you're the 30s or whatever, and you want to know what this story is, or you want a native name, or, and you learn how to, make a prayer tie. And that teaching of learning to make a prayer tie, a tobacco prayer tie, that teaching is so very important. The gift of tobacco, why you give it, what is the reverence of tobacco? What's the sacredness of tobacco? I mean, it's so important. So for you to have learned all those things and make those promises, okay, and then not seek out how you can give back, it isn't always the duty of the teacher in the tradition, okay, to wait for the students.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're going to sit there and say, oh, well, they never came, so I don't need to teach, that's not how that works.
Mm-mm.
Why didn't they come? Is the road paved? Did you make it enjoyable for them to come? Did you do your best to get them to you? So there's a responsibility there. I see in my community, I see little bits and pieces of the tradition coming into our communities right now.
Good.
And I don't know how that happens other than people paying attention to why they like living the way we do here in Vermont and how we can continue to do that. And one way is that, people like to live natural and organic in areas that are pristine, right?
Right.
You don't really want to be against the nature. You want to be in nature.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise you would not put up with winter here. Mm-mm. So so we do have that interest. And I see it in the public. I drove through a little town of Belvedere, and they have a teepee, which I know is not Abenaki, but it's showing you that at least there is a native presence coming through, and then other communities have speakers that come through on the library circuit, speakers and crafts that come through on the school circuit. And the Clan of the Hawk used to do that. And I will say, we're talking about, 15 years ago when we had a few people, a few teachers, and, Chief Spiritwater did a lot of that at the actual incarceration level as well. He would go to jails and whatnot back in the day. Yeah, and they would have talking circles, So just staying, I see it. I see that people are getting involved. I see it also on the internet, where I'll be scrolling. I'm like, oh, the Nell, you were doing this month. Oh, the Nell he gonna doing this. Oh, Swanton's gonna have a this or that, and that makes me, and of course I have friends in the Native community around here, and you'll see their posts and whatnot. So I do see it blossoming.
That's
I
good.
really
That's
do.
really, really
So
good, because I know for a period of time that I would meet some of my peers, and some of the younger people just didn't know the way, and sharing and teaching and understanding that everything has significance. Every little thing that we do has significance. We don't do anything without it being purposeful. And I just want to share also, or have you share, excuse me, the sacredness of storytelling. Because we talk about talking circles and we talk about it in passing, but it's been my experience that the way we talk and the way we tell stories is our history, is the way that we preserve everything. and the way that we teach. So why don't you comment a little bit on the storytelling?
Well, first I'm going to give me a shout out to Grandmother Willow Green. Man, that lady can tell a story.
Mm,
Uh-huh. Yep. And she also was on that grandmother weekend I was telling you about, the Abernaki Grandmother Weekend. And she's the one I can honestly say gave me the best taste of what it is like to be a storyteller. And I hope I do her justice, because basically what she taught me was to teach you like right now. So
mhm.
I hope I get this right. Being a storyteller is giving a piece of yourself to anyone and everyone. You have a responsibility to take the verbal teachings, to actually acquire the correct verbal teachings, okay? A responsibility to do that, and a responsibility to literally state them back to the listener, like literally exactly, exactly as your teachers tell you,
Yeah.
where you can exaggerate, where you cannot. Because a lesson in a story tell, there's never just one. There's like many. So you can't, if you do, you will miss. If you exaggerate or miss a few things or use a different word per se, you'll lose pieces. And that I know, right?
Right.
The other thing is the storyteller has to acquire the talent from the creator and the calling to put the time and dedication into keeping the stories straight. If they find like I would imagine, this was not told to me, this particular piece, but I would imagine if they found like a different version of it, they'd have to check it out, make sure they had the right one, and maybe like, you know what I'm saying? Because it's
Yeah.
so important that they are passing on the traditions, the cultures, some of the most important things in people's lives. Like, certain stories you'll learn to get you through the rough times in your life, and it's important that you know those. It's important, that once you know those stories, when you pass those on, that you're confident you're passing on the exact same stuff that you had learned and you're supposed to pass on.
Okay.
But the storyteller is probably the most, I look for the storyteller anytime I go anywhere. They're the most beloved, I think, piece of a tribe. I really do. Everybody wants to be around the storyteller.
Yes.
Good medicine.
Big medicine. And I would suspect that the other big medicine might be the cosmology. Do you want to share with us just a little bit of insight on Abernaki cosmology?
Okay, so I know that there are traditions that talk about the seven sisters, that talk about Sky Woman, and all the details about the legends and where we go as an Abenaki, or Abnaki, however how you say it. And I believe those. I don't know what the Cherokee legend is as to where their heaven is, or where their afterlife is. Because the minute I heard and the minute I was taught by Grandfather Burton. This whole universe connection to the earth and through us. I didn't need to know another one really, because it was explained to me that this is how the Abenaki basically do their afterlife, how it is explained, how it is understood, and how they interpret the afterlife.
Mhm.
Every other tribe interprets the afterlife the way they interpret it, but it's all the same thing. It's not of here, it is of there, and it is different. There are a lot of traditions that go along with how you cross over, you know, and I learned quite a bit of them in the past couple of years. But some of them I learned like on the fly, you know, because COVID did take my elders, the chief and a few others. So, you know, you had to learn these things on the fly, and people were really, I was really grateful at all the teachings I got. And several of them were Abenaki teachings, which is kind of interesting because, you know, I didn't know them. I didn't know those traditions. And one of the biggest traditions is, though, that it's a peaceful and amazing experience to be here. And it's a peaceful and amazing experience to be there. And that's, you know, really the nucleus of the experience. And also, if you have a question, if you need help, you pray, because prayer works. It is your communication with, you know, your ancestors. And that is very important to the Abenaki, is communicating with their ancestors. I mean, there's traditions around it. But you know, it's just like a lot of other traditions in a lot of other nations, where you just need to ask the universe, and the universe will answer you back. You
Mhm.
know, and it's that's what I believe, and I'm sure there's more in depth to that I could get into. I'm just, you know,
No, I
sometimes a
won't do that to you.
conversation. Well, I think the conversation comes more deeply around when you have the fire, which is the medicine for this talk. So it's
Yeah.
really hard. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
So,
Yes, I do. It really does. And then that's when you get lost in the conversation, and it comes
mhm,
naturally, and it's hard
exactly.
online. But I guess, you know, not to keep you really, really long, because I would talk to
No,
you all day and all night. But what I wanted to just ask if you would share a little bit, because most people don't know this, but you were chief for a while.
yep.
And that had to be a phenomenal experience. Would you share just a little bit what it was like to be selected and to be chief? Is it a matriarchal society, or how does that take place?
Well, traditionally, no, the Abenaki is not a matriarchal society. However, the Swanton band, the Abenaki, did have a female chief in our lifetime. Her name was April. And so I kind of felt like when my chief knew that he wouldn't be here, and he asked me if I would please take the responsibility on, and 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 do what do what needs to be done in the next breath of air, you know.
Hmm.
So I did. I love the Clan of the Hawk. um I knew that the Clan of the Hawk would be very, very much broken and hurt, you know, losing the chief. And we had some people that really wanted to, we had some clan members that really wanted to and still do, you know, keep all of that alive, because it was a wonderful experience for a lot of people. And it was a learning experience, and I wanted to be chief, but I know what it takes to be chief. And I'm going to tell you right now, you know, we were lucky. The Clan of the Hawk could do a lot because they had their own land. You know, they had a place to go. You know, it's hard to just lose all of that and then say you have a clan. So nobody lived in the area. We had no central place, you know, so we needed a chief, someone that would bring at least, you know, bring us to, you know, a point where the clan could get a little grip and do what traditionally we do, which is vote in a new chief. And that was Chief Dave DeLuca. He came right after me. So, you know, I was grateful to be a chief of the Clan of the Hawk, and I tried to do my best to, you know, I guess do what I knew the chief wanted to happen, which was to get, you know, get through and get to the traditional part of you got to keep it going, you know, and we did the best we could for him and for everybody. And right now, you know, our clan is dispersed, but I know that the Clan of the Hog, like our, you know, our clan mother Lori and Bonnie and a few other people, you know, I know that they're out there, and Dave and Brian, you know, but we have no central place, and we've been through like some serious crazy turmoil. Do you know what I mean? So that takes a little while to bring things back. But going back to being cheap, I will say that it's an experience going from, you know, people will contact you and ask you just what your opinion is about something. And at the time, I must say, you know, I really enjoyed answering, you know, questions about the Clan of the Hawk and what the Clan of the Hawk could do, and what our opinion was of certain things. And it was an experience that I had never thought I would have, but was glad that I did. And I was honored. I was honored to take over for Chief Ralph Sweat.
Wonderful, wonderful. So I know that we're coming to a close. I'm going to ask you to end this with telling us a little story. Do you mind telling us a story?
Sure. The story of the crow. The story of the crow getting the color of the crow, which is black. In brief, the crow was meant to take a message to the sun. And he got too close to the sun. But he got the message to where it needed to go. And when he came back, he used to have a beautiful voice, and he would sing, and the woods heard him, and they knew that the crow was a beautiful bird, the beautiful voice. And when he came back from doing what he promised he would do, to literally save the earth, he came back black, and he came back with a raspy voice, but he never stopped singing. And the people love the crow still, even though he lost all his color and beauty and lost that gorgeous Elvis voice, they still love the crow. That was it in a nutshell, let me tell you.
Thank you.
There's another one story I want to say.
Okay.
That the Abenaki believe that the mountains that surround this area in the Northeast Kingdom and in the Abenaki lands were their ancestors, you know, that they had laid down, and they were their ancestors. And as I drive around, you know, and see the silhouettes, it is amazing to me. But as old as that legend, as that story, as that belief, as that truth is, it is the same. I'm looking at the exact same thing that those people believed were their answer and are, in my belief, they are their ancestors, and it is still here today. So the teachings, as you talked about, the stories, they are still here, whether we're telling them or not. The ash tree made it through the boar. I hope that boar disease, the little bug. The ash tree is among our, tall people that is still here and gives the story if you will listen. And then the mountains are still there. And if you see them, you can't help as a human being say, that looks like a person lying down, doesn't it? That's a silhouette of her face, isn't it? Yes, it is. Like, there are the stories, Amelia. They're right there in front of us. So legends, they're not always just stories. They could just be true.
Exactly. I feel like there's always truth in legend, or the legend has taken the truth and just changes just slightly. So as it propagates out, you kind of lose the meaning in it sometimes, but the ones who have to embrace it and know it for what it really is. Always.
Yes, always.
Oh my goodness, thank you so much for having this conversation, for being here, and for participating and just bringing your beautiful warm smile, which I love. For those of you who don't know, Grandmother Donna and I both go to the Native Nations Festival every year and see each other in upstate New York and Painted Post at the Native Nations Festival, where we counsel and work with the community there as the powwow takes place. And it's just such an honor to have you. It's such an honor to have you here. So thank you.
Thanks, Enola. Thank you. And I just want to say that I definitely have that vacation off. We are going to definitely be there. And I can't wait to bring the big drum, Stone Pony, and let's have some fun.
Yes, we will. Drumming, singing, and dancing and everything. So that happens every September 23rd. Or third weekend. No, let me take that back. It happens every third weekend in September.
I think it's like the 16th, 17th.
Yeah, 16th, 17th, 18th this year. Yeah. So, yes, I will see you there, as always, with the greeting of a big warm hug. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Enola. Have a great night.
Take care and bye, everyone.